Hello everyone, welcome back to another how to build video, and today I will be showing you how to decorate the floating island that you made in the previous how to build episode. So let's get straight into it, shall we? The first main thing you're going to want to do is make the edges a little more natural by adding some dirt blocks hanging down off the sides. Make it just a little bit more textured and a little bit more natural. You can build it out, up in some places. Sometimes you can replace some of the stone, but basically just kind of in the pattern that the grass block texture in Minecraft is. Just kind of an up and down kind of dirt pattern. Next, you're going to want to add some actual terrain, like for instance a small hill, or just some natural dips in the landscape, kind of how normal Minecraft would generate, just on the floating island, making it less flat and more natural. To start doing this, you're going to want to outline how big you want the hill to be, and then just build in from there. And a good tip to remember when terraforming, just in general, is Minecraft doesn't just go one block up, one block up, one block up. It goes one block up, and then 2 or 3 blocks to the side when going for relatively small hills like the one you see me building here. So remember to not just make it like a tower or a pyramid or anything like that. Make sure that there is some land so that it looks at least somewhat more natural. Another thing that adds a nice detail to any floating island are trees, specifically custom ones. Now, the one you see me building here is it would be a 2x2 trunk tree, where in general the trunk is approximately 2x2 when going up. When building the tree, you're going to want to make sure that as you go up, it tilts a little bit to one side. It doesn't matter what side it is, but tilt it a little bit to one side. Also, make the base a little bit wider than the rest of it. Next, you're going to want to build the branches. Just build some branches out, and that they are only 1 block wide, not 2 block wide in any way. So get rid of it to make it so the corners of the blocks are touching, but not the sides of the blocks in places like that. You're going to want to build these out to the side and up. You also can build little smaller branches off of the big branches, depending on the size of your tree. After that, you're going to want to put leaves on the tree, probably, unless it's like a graveyard floating island or something like that. Now, the way I recommend doing this is by first just covering all the wood blocks in leaves, but not filling in anything that's not touching the stems, or branches I mean, not stems. After that, you can add a little bit more detail by looking at it, filling stuff in, adding a few more branches maybe, and just in general getting it to a somewhat rounded shape. Remember that the tree doesn't have to be perfectly rounded. In fact, they often look better when they're not perfectly rounded. After that, you're going to want to add roots. So I recommend at the start of the roots, when it's right up next to the tree, have them 1 block above the ground, and then later replace the ground with the root or log that you're using. Also, another thing is if you put the trees next to the edge of the floating island, you can have the roots dangle down, which makes a really good effect, especially when done right. After you make the main roots, you can go back and add some smaller root bits to the other roots that you already built to give it, again, a more natural feel. But make sure that these smaller roots don't connect with the other bigger roots, because that's not a thing that happens in real life or Minecraft. Then again, Minecraft trees don't have roots, so yeah. Next thing that I did was building a hot air balloon. Hot air balloons, I don't know why, but I kind of just think that they go good with floating islands, but they're tricky to make. So what you're going to want to do is first make the basket. I usually make the standing area a 2x2 area, and then put 1 block high walls around it. Then I put the fences on it. Then I use fences for the rope, tying it to the actual balloon part of the hot air balloon. These should all come together at a 4 block area. Then you're going to want to make the balloon part of the hot air balloon. This is the hardest part, so you're probably going to have to experiment a bit. So How I usually do this is just by generally going out the farther up you go, and then at one point just not going out anymore and going up. The main thing you have to remember when building hot air balloons is at the top, don't make it very pointy, make it really flat at the top, kind of flat at the top, and then pointy at the towards the bottom of it. As you can see, I am editing and experimenting a bit here because I kind of forgot how I did the other time I made a hot air balloon. But after that, you're probably not going to want to use gray wool like I did. You're probably going to want to use some kind of colored wool, like red or green wool. I tried to do red with markings on each side of the balloon. The markings didn't really turn out that well, but they're there, but yeah. Rivers also add a good touch to your island because of the waterfalls that will flow off your island into the land below, a river below, or the ocean below. Now also, as you can see, as you saw there, you may also have made an accidental mob farm with the floating island, so do be careful of that. Probably should have mentioned it when actually building floating island. Anyways, to start building the river, you're going to want to outline the area by digging holes through the ground. After that, you're going to want to put grass down or some solid block that's not influenced by gravity down underneath where the hole for the river is, preferably at least 3 blocks down, depending on the size of your river. The wider your river is, the farther down you go. This will be 1 block below the bottom of your river. Now the reason we're doing this is because the bottom of the river is usually sand and clay, which is what you should be using for the bottom. Mainly is sand, but also adding bits of clay in. So add it all as sand, make sure it's a good gradient, and again, not just 1 block ledges or anything like that. Make sure it's at least 2 blocks, maybe sometimes 1 in some places, but usually 2 blocks. Fill in all the area with sand, and then replace some bits with clay. Also, another good touch is adding some sand to the side of the river in some places. That always adds a good touch. And then you're going to want to put fish in the river, probably. After that, you should probably fill it in with water too. I forgot to mention that part. And make a bridge going across it. And there you have it. That is your floating island decorated. Now, there are other ways to build a floating island and decorate it, but this is how I usually make floating islands. There are other types, as I said, and I may go into detail on those in a future how to build episode, but for now, there you go. So in other words, this wasn't really a floating island decoration. Oh, and one more thing. Add some vegetation, some smaller vegetation around, like tall grass, but not double tall grass. Make sure that there is no double tall grass except near the roots of the tree. There it is good to have double tall grass, but everywhere else just have regular tall grass, and make sure to space it out a bit. But yeah, basically this wasn't actually decorating a floating island. This was how to build a hot air balloon, a bridge, a river, and a tree. Like, that's what it really was, wasn't it? Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you actually know how to build this now and I explained it properly. And a goodbye.